Yo, what's up guys? Felix from Giant Lifestyle. Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to tell you guys how I made my first six figures, how I did it at the age of 21, and a little bit about my story about how I got started and how I got here today. So I'm currently 27, I'll be 28 in August. And I think a lot of people may see me that, maybe I had money from my family, maybe it happened overnight, and they just may or may not know the full story and the journey of how I went from a broke college kid in Ohio to owning multiple six-figure businesses, having money invested into real estate, and truly being financially free, able to take care of my family and living the life that I've always dreamed of. So I don't have time to literally explain every detail, but hopefully my story can inspire some of you guys and you can know that I'm just like you. I'm nothing special. I wasn't born into money. I just worked really hard. I was relentless. I was consistent. I was persistent. And I knew I wanted and I knew I deserved success and financial freedom. And to be honest, I've said this in previous videos. I know if you've ever booked a consultation call with me, I may or may not said this to you, but I would truly wish financial freedom on my worst enemy. Even if we don't talk no more, even if we don't see eye to eye, I want financial freedom for everybody because it's truly a great way to live. I've been broke, I've been financially free, and just like in the Wolf of Wall Street movie, he said, I've been rich, I've been poor, and I'll choose rich every single time. So like I said, gonna tell you guys my story, how I went from basically being a broke college kid at the age of 19 to now being financially free at the age of 27 and owning multiple six-figure businesses. Before this video starts, be sure to check the first link in the description if you want to learn how to build a business buying and reselling diabetic medical commodities. That is part of what led me to financial freedom. Also, if you enjoy videos like this, drop a like on it. It literally only takes a second. So this story dates all the way back to August of 2013, right? And the reason I started this story here is because this is where I was introduced to entrepreneurship. This is where I learned about the book Rich Dad Poor Dad. And for a lot of people, that book is very monumental. It's changed a lot of lives. I'm sure it's changed millions of lives. And in fact, it's changed my life to the point where I actually tattooed it on me. And I'm gonna tell you why I did. This is like my entrepreneur sleeve. I have like a guy chipping himself out of stone, a camera, trust your gut, a shark for being relentless and stuff like that. But back in August of 2013, it was my birthday. So my mom and I, we love going to the beach. My mom loves the beach. I grew up in the summer. A family member of mine had a beach house, so we were always by the beach in the summer. And I remember it was my birthday of August of 2013, and it was the most perfect beach day. The waves weren't too big, so if the waves weren't too big, I used to surf. So it was literally the perfect day. The waves were perfect, and the water was warm, and it was the perfect day, and it was my birthday. And just a few days after that, I was actually leaving to college, and I went to school in Ohio at a school called Ohio University. So with that being said, I'm surfing all day, and I end up meeting another surfer. Now, this is an older gentleman, and he starts telling me about entrepreneurship. He starts telling me about business. He starts telling me about Robert Kiyosaki and the Rich Dad series. And it's crazy that I went to school for years and years and years. I'm 19, I believe, at this point, or maybe 18. And I never heard the word entrepreneurship. I never heard the word or any of the topics that, my channel discusses and other finance channels discussed. I always felt like this information was just hidden from us for a while. And I remember at the end of it, he said, hey, I used to introduce myself as Joey back then. That was my middle name. I went by more often than I went by, which is Felix now, which is my first name. And he said, hey, good luck at school, but if anything doesn't work out, pick up the book Rich Dad Poor Dad. Now I thought, hey, I don't like reading. I never liked it in school. I'll keep it in the back of my head, but not gonna happen, right? So I went away to school, joined a fraternity, didn't really study anything. I kind of just went for the experience. And I believe going into the second semester, so the first semester, my GPA, I had like 3 Ds and an F, terrible in school, was just hanging out, not really doing anything. And I didn't really enjoy the whole experience. It was cool in the beginning, but I was like, this isn't me. I was trying to be somebody that I really wasn't. So I said, hey, let me pick up this book. Let me see what it was about. When I read that book into the second semester of university, I didn't even go to class. I was so amazed by this book. I think I read through it in probably, I don't know, a couple days. So I immediately, started learning about real estate, and I learned about wholesaling. I didn't have any money at the time to buy a course or a book or a class. So I basically just watched hundreds and hundreds of YouTube videos to figure out how to wholesale real estate. I have a bunch of videos on my channel if you want to learn how to do it. And I even talk about my first deal. But while I was out in Ohio, I actually got a property under contract. I somehow got and found somebody who was on the other side of Ohio to drive all the way to my university campus. I put the property under contract and I never did anything with it. I ended up just backing out of the deal and dropping out a few days later to go home. From there, everybody in my family told me I was dumb, I was stupid, I was crazy for dropping out, but I knew what I knew. I knew that I was going to be successful and I didn't care what anybody thought because I always knew. And it didn't happen for a while. I remember I was trying to do wholesaling real estate. I was doing little side hustles on the side. In fact, it took me, so I dropped out December, let me see. I picked up the book December of 2013. I ended up dropping out of college in February of 2014. I closed my first wholesale deal January of 2015 for $6,000. I closed my second wholesale deal April of 2015 for $10,000 in the same city, like maybe a mile or so down the street from the first deal. And then I kept doing wholesaling, but the thing that I didn't like about wholesaling is the deals were so sporadic. So I learned about wholesaling like the beginning of 2014, end of 2013. I didn't do my first deal until January 2015. The deal that closed in January 2015, I ended up getting the lead for that deal around October of 2014. But the time between these real estate wholesale deals, people underestimated, but could take a really long time. Then I did my second deal in April of 2015 for $10,000. And then what really kind of set my life, and between the first deal and almost into the summertime, it was real slow. You know, yes, I was doing wholesaling. Yes, I was investing back into mailers, bandit signs, and all things like this to try to get new leads. But you have to think about how many people are really selling their house for 30, 40, 50, 60% of the dollar. Yes, it happens, but it's not, it's not as often and common as somebody wanting to sell their house on the retail market. So so January 2015, I closed my first deal. April, I closed my second deal. August, and between April and August, I was trying to work on new deals, is when I had a deal basically come together. Another wholesaler who, was basically a wholesaler. We were basically going to do the deal together. He had the seller, I had the buyer, and it was going to be a huge JV deal. It was going to be like $60,000, maybe $70,000. And literally the day before closing, they ran a title report, and then we got to closing and the deal fell through. And I was banking on this, and that's how I found out that that guy was, and it feels so crazy to tell this story because it was so long ago. That was 2014, 2015, and next year is going to be 2023, 2024, 2025. And it's crazy to think that I've been on this journey. Next year will actually be 10 years ago that I read this book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And I feel like if I never met that guy at the beach, that maybe I would still be in college, maybe I would be in a career I don't like, maybe I'd be doing something that I'm not truly passionate about, and I definitely wouldn't be in a position to be financially free, to be able to take care of my family and live my true dream life of helping others do the same. But it's crazy to think that because I went to the beach that day, I met somebody who told me about this book. I read the book, I dropped out, I educated myself on real estate, I closed a real estate deal, I closed the second one, I was about to close a third one, but I'm grateful that I didn't because that guy actually was a medical commodities reseller. And then, from there, I started flipping medical commodities. It took me, so I learned about medical commodities from what he was doing in August. But because I didn't buy a course, there was no courses, there was no trainings, there was no information about medical commodities that I regularly share now because the business changed my life, or you could find from other creators if you don't want to take my information and my training on the business. There are other people, but back then in 2014, 2015, there was no information on that. I was one of the first person or the pioneers of the medical commodities industry to actually make content on the business because I think it's something that's so life-changing. So I discovered it from the guy I was supposed to do that wholesale deal with in August of 2015. Because he didn't really want to teach me, I tried to pay him, I tried to work for him. I still know him to this day, but it's somebody that you kind of, play to the side, and he acts like he wants to help you, but he doesn't actually want to help you. So I discovered medical commodities in August of 2015. I finally got it up and rocking in February of 2016. And from February 2016 to December of 2016 is when I made my first 6 figures. And then from there, I took that money, and even though I didn't manage it properly, you know, I invested some of that money into real estate, and that's how I kind of got my start into real estate. But that first year of flipping medical commodities is kind of where, you know, I learned a lot about myself with, you know, spending habits, budgeting, and, you know, really making your first real amount of money. So when you see these ball players, celebrities, and athletes make a bunch of money and they run through it, it's because that, you know, if you never made a bunch of money quickly in your life, you know, it will give you a certain sort of experience. So I recommend that, you know, the first time you try and make a lot of money, if you're going to go crazy and spending it, you know, get it out of your system. Because for me, I was spending money on clothes, everything. I've done it multiple stints where I've made a lot of money, and, you know, sometimes I just, you know, can't control myself. So basically what allowed me to get myself involved into real estate is medical commodities and buying and reselling diabetic testing supplies. I did real estate, but real estate wholesaling for me was too slow. So what I did is I basically transitioned from real estate wholesaling to medical commodities, and then that allowed me to and give me a start. Because the thing that people don't realize about real estate is, yes, it's good. Yes, you can make a lot of money, but it takes time and it takes capital. So once I got my medical commodities business up and running, I did a few fix and flips. And then in 2018 or 2019 is when I started buying rentals and stuff like that. And that's when I was able to really make moves, because, you know, without that, you can't make moves. And now I'm trying to do things with, you know, Airbnbs, because I think that's the new wave. I got involved in some transportation businesses. I got my credit right. I'm building my medical commodities business to a higher level, because there's people that I've showed how to do it, people who've taken my course, and then they went on to make more money than me. And now, you know, it's still a gradual process to more and more success. But it's crazy that, you know, just maybe 8-9 years ago, I literally had nothing, and now I've made multiple 6 figures per year through a variety of different businesses. So I just want to say that, you know, if you're thinking that, you know, if it's looking dark for you, if you don't know how you're going to become successful, if you don't know what you're going to do, listen, just start today, because you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great, and it's possible. If I could do it, if it's somebody who couldn't even get like a 1, I never got an A in any of my classes. I think it maybe have happened once. And now I make, you know, probably way more than my teachers and probably anybody that I've ever went to school with. So it's possible. You can do it. I did it. And that's really what I want this channel to be about. And, you know, you just have to be relentless. You just have to be ruthless, and you can't care what anybody thinks. People are going to talk down on you. People are going to talk bad about you, but you have to be persistent. You have to be consistent, and you have to go and get what you want. So that's kind of how I did it. Like I said, started wholesaling. Well, started in college, learned about real estate through Rich Dad Poor Dad, got into wholesaling, did my first deal, got into medical commodities, and then the medical commodities is what allowed me to get into so many other businesses. And once you got multiple streams, you know, even if I were to lose everything, and I've made previous videos about that, you know, because of the information I have, I'd be able to get it all back. Through that process, you know, those first from 2014 to 2014 to 2017, not only did I read hundreds of books, but I also had a very successful mentor that, you know, guided me, took me under his wing, and taught me a lot about business, a lot about life. And that's a huge factor in the reason that I am successful to this day. So that's something that I left out and forgot about in the beginning. Like I said, there's so many things that happened over the course of the past 7, 8, 9 years, but those are the highlights to my success. So there you guys have it. If you guys enjoyed the video, like I said, drop a like on this video. Check the links in the description. My contact information and other business resources are down there as well. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.